It's going to come from Rozier because
because it always does.
Yeah. Well, no, like Rozier and Gordon going to get along. There are reports of that, right? That Rozier and Hayward had maybe butted heads a couple of times back in when. I just don't get it. The fit. I get the money. Totally get it. The fit. Like Gordon's going to no man's. Like you're going to compete for the 8th seed. What? What is the point of that?
Well, and I don't know. You know, it was a problem for him when he was here dealing with pressure, not his fault because of the injuries, but it's not as pressurized a situation down there.
Well, that gets to my like hot take that I've been like kind of had on ice for a bit and I've been kind of building it.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure you got this out before we ran out of time.
Right.
Well, so my hot take on Gordon is Gordon Hayward is not a winner. And
that's not the hot take I was expecting.
No, my hot take is Gordon. Go back to him in high school. Like he wins a state championship in high school, so it's really difficult to kind of like build this thing. But when you look at what he was offered, he's offered a spot at Michigan, he's offered a spot at Purdue, then he's offered a spot at Butler. And he takes kind of the easy way out with Butler, right? You go to Michigan, there's going to be some guys you have to compete with. In terms of D1 legit talent. You go to Purdue. That Purdue team, if you go back to Matt Painter's squad, that's a stacked Purdue team. They have each one more, Jawan Johnson, and a couple other guys that I'm forgetting off the top of my head. I had it written down. But he forgoes both of those teams, which would have, actual aspirations to win a title, and picks Butler, right? Because he's used to it. It's comfortable for him. But, at the time, I think that he signed. I don't think anyone was penciling Butler to go make the Final Four or go to the NCAA championship game, okay? I don't think anybody saw that coming, which is the beauty of Brad Stevens. And if you go back to that tournament run, right, who did they beat to get to the championship game? I can tell you one of the teams they beat was Adam and I's Syracuse squad, which was missing Arinze Onuaku on that team, who was their, all Big East center, tore his ACL against Georgetown. And that team was never the same. I mean, they lacked depth and size, especially, in the middle of that 2-3 zone. And they got, beat by a well-coached, a tough-ass Butler team. You go to the title game, and things don't go well. If Gordon hits the shot, then we don't have this conversation. But it goes to Utah, right? Doesn't really sniff anything. I mean, they don't really do anything of any significance at all while he's there.
They were also Utah. Well,
this is my point.
Didn't win anything.
But you go to Utah, nothing happens. You're wavering between Utah and Boston and Miami. Like Miami, they've had a lot of success recently, right? With Pat Riley, they've won championships. Boston, of course, notoriously, 17 titles. And you're waffling between those two and Utah, which is his home, fine. But a lot less pressure in Utah. Comes to Boston, I think, basically because of Brad Stevens. And then now he goes to Charlotte. Like, where's your head at? What's most important to you? Is winning most important to you? That's what it feels like to me with Gordon. And you hear this all the time. You have to sacrifice to win titles. You have to sacrifice certain things. Like Chris Bosh is one of my favorite examples. You think Chris Bosh loved being the third man in Miami? No, he didn't. However, he understood I have to take the backest of back seats for LeBron and Dwayne Wade so we can win a title.
Same thing with Ray Allen in 08.
Right.
Mm-hmm. He sacrificed his game. And as Adam was saying, Gordon never showed any dissatisfaction with that on the floor because he's wired to do what he was doing. Right. Be curious to see if how much his shots increase. Is he going to start trying to carry the offense down there?
He better. What the hell did they bring him in for otherwise? I mean, he's not
sure that's entirely him though. To be the guy like that?
He's gonna he's gonna have to be what he was that last year in Utah. That's I think, I don't know if his body's gonna cooperate with that. That's a whole other thing. But I think that's what Michael Jordan attempted to sign anyway. I think he attempted to bring in last year of Utah, Gordon Hayward, who was an all-star in the West, who was still incredibly efficient, who gave you whatever it was, 23, 24 points a game. The shots were higher, whatever other numbers as well. I think that's what he's looking for. I think he's looking for a Hayward that's going to come. And the thing is, though, he is such a good shooter that he doesn't need to take 20-plus shots a night to give you 24 points a game. You know, he can take 16 or 17 shots and spread the ball around that. I think he, again, as long as he's healthy, I think he will.
One thing Brad said last week is that Gordon needs the ball in his hands a lot to really feel involved.
Mm-hmm.
He'll get that down there. He wasn't getting that with Tatum and Brown and Kemba and so forth. So, you know, he needs to get himself into some kind of a groove. But, you know, one image that stands out in my head with him as a Celtic is just how often he double clutched at the rim, just missed open shots in pressurized situations. He just had a crisis of confidence after the injury, and he never got it back here. That's what he's got to do. He's really got to get it back down there. And maybe, you know, if he plays as big a role as it seems like he's going to play, maybe that's what he needs to get it back.
Yeah, I would assume with Devontae Graham, Terry Rozier, LaMelo Ball, and whatever they have for – I don't even know. Is Frank Kaminsky still down there? I have no idea.
No, he's a son, right?
Yeah, that's right. I think so. He just signed there. But with the way, you know, you have Cody Zeller down there, I mean, it has to be the Gordon Hayward show. And I'm happy for him, trust me. But, like,
but
you know.
But they're not going to make the playoffs.
No. And again, the point is just comes back to the money with me and Gordon. And that's fine. There's nothing I will not, especially in this particular climate, I am not going to get offended if somebody picks money over something else, because that's financial security for your family is ginormous. I mean, especially right now. So power to him.
It's interesting that both him and Horford reached their player option years, and the Celtics realized that neither guy was worth their money anymore.
What do you look into that a little bit more than anybody else does, Mark? It seems like people want to put that as like the Celtics have trouble retaining free agents, like star level free agents.
But they were all different. You know, Al, I think Al, this has always been his desire, and he's never got it. He doesn't want to be a center. Well, in the modern NBA, that's who you are, you know?
Yeah.
But he was looking forward to being a power forward with Embiid, and then they just didn't work at all. And then it was the money. The Celtics weren't going to pay him that. He wasn't worth that kind of dough anymore. Same thing with Hayward. They weren't going to pay him that much. They would have gone in the low 20s with him per year. And
there was that report they offered him $100 million, right?
Yeah, they were willing to average somewhere around 23. But, you know, he could get more. He could, you know, so it's a mixture of things. Kyrie is just you know.
Good luck, Brooklyn.
What are you going to say about that?